The rain in Spain stays mainly in the...
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.
Good morning. It's day 18. It's March the 17th. We have just started our walk for the day. I suppose we're probably a kilometre or so in. We're leaving Atapuerca, heading towards Burgos. Burgos is one of the large stops that we have. I think you'd probably classify it as a city rather than a town or a village. City of Burgos. Last night's accommodation was actually outside Atapuerca. We couldn't online secure what we were looking for. One of the accommodations that we contacted in Atapuerca said, look, they've got another house. It's outside of Atapuerca. You can stay there. We'll pick you up from Atapuerca and drop you back in the morning. So that's what's happened. We were picked up from the cafe in Atapuerca yesterday afternoon after lunch, and we were dropped back at that very spot. So zero effect on meters that we need to walk, kilometers that we need to walk. But it was a nice house in a very small village. The owner said about 25 people live in the village. I think it was called Fresno de Rodilla. And in fact, it occasionally does get pilgrims walking through it, but not on the French way. There is a northern path that comes from France into Spain. Ours started in France and St. John, but this one comes more from the north, from the coastal area, and goes through Fresno, Rodilla, and then must link up in Burgos. You can probably hear me panting a bit, because just like the song, Golden, we're going up, up, up again. Seems to be the last couple of days, day one. Good morning. Not day one, day whatever it is, day 19, 18. It just starts off with by walking up the mountain, up a very rocky path, nearly getting to the top. Blue, sunny day. In fact, when I woke up, I checked the weather for today, and at that time it was 3 degrees. But the max today is forecast to be 20 degrees. So that sounds really nice. I've got just a t-shirt on and a athletic long sleeve. I've still got my big jacket over the top of that. But as I speak, I'm getting hot. I'm getting sweaty. I'm going to take the big jacket off very soon. I've already ditched the gloves for the day. So just having the long sleeve athletic shirt and the t-shirt should be enough. It's interesting just how much the weather can fluctuate here from day to day. You know, we come from a place in Darwin. You can set your clock to the weather. It's just so consistent around wet season, dry season build-up and what you can expect the temperature to be, etc. But not here. Our host did actually say the winds, if you watch the wind turbines, and depending what way they're facing, indicating which way the wind is coming from, they can usually predict the weather as well. There's a lot of wind turbines in this area, and chatting with our host last night, this small town, 25 people, had a lot of playground, park, gym resources out in the sort of the open space, like a park space, that were paid for by the wind turbine, the electricity companies. There's this sport that they play sort of in the north east of Spain, in the Basque region. It's a bit like, I suppose, not what we would call handball, not European handball where you throw the ball into the goals, but almost like a squash, tennis, type game that you use your hand, but there are some variants where you use a racket, and it's played in these big concrete, like the old concrete squash courts. It's played in something a bit like that. This town of 25 had one of those. It had what I took a photo of, which I love, is like this little combo between, I think it was glass or a very thick perspex and a cage, but with synthetic soccer turf, so you could play tennis and or futsal. Had one of those. It had, I'd say, easily 10 to 12 pieces of exercise equipment. You could have the whole town out there, and you wouldn't have to wait too long to get onto that circuit and use all the equipment. There were slides and swings and other things that Chan enjoyed. And apparently this has all come from kickbacks from the electricity companies with the wind turbines. So that's nice to see that the small villages getting something. But the big question we did ask was, is your electricity powered by the wind turbines? And do you get that power for free or at a discounted rate? But no, they're not on power from the wind turbines. That goes elsewhere, and they're on whatever they're usually powered by. Anyway, not to get too much into the local energy markets, but I thought that was interesting. You've got facilities paid for by wind turbines. You've got wind turbines all the way around, but this small village of 25 people, which you could probably stick up one wind turbine down the street and maybe even run the whole place, wasn't actually powered by one. Just as we continue to climb, coming up to this big cross at the top of this mountain, timber cross, lots of rocks around the base. Sherilyn, is this the one? I don't think this is the one, is it? This isn't it? This is a cross, but not the cross that you bring a rock from home and drop the rock at the base. But it is impressive nonetheless. There must be Australians who've done this, who've tied some shoes together by the shoelaces and thrown it up at the cross. Seems to be an Australian thing, isn't it? Anyway, I just wanted to quickly run through, I suppose, the different types of accommodation that we've come across so far, because there is a range. I suppose at the lower level, bed in an albergue, dormitory. We've stayed there one night. That was Roncesvalles. So that's where you book, or you turn up early, pay your money, you get a bunk bed, shared facilities, etc. Go out and eat your meals outside. You might be able to, at best, some basic facilities like a kettle, maybe a microwave, not a whole lot. So that was fairly just functional, eat your meals outside. Then I suppose other, hostels, albergues, hostels, but a private room, and we've stayed in a couple of those so far. So there's the dormitories there, but you've got your own space and own bathroom as well. That's key for us. Own bedroom, own bathroom, etc. Sometimes the bathroom has been shared, so there might be a couple of private rooms that share the same bathroom. So that was sort of albergue hostel. Then there is, like, you're staying in someone's house, but you get your private room. You may get your private bathroom or a shared bathroom, not with the sort of the guest family, but with the other pilgrims that are on the way. We've stayed in those. We've had your typical hotel room. So small room, couple of beds, private bathroom in the room, etc. No real facilities. They're not a fan of putting kettles anywhere here. But yeah, your hotel, so, there's a counter, a kiosk where you check in. There's been apartments as well, and there, I suppose, have been my favourite, is getting an apartment where you've got a couple of bedrooms, you've got a kitchen. Sometimes you get a laundry in a washer, not so much a dryer. So we've had a few different types of accommodation here, and the apartments are not always the more expensive. That's what surprises me, thinking that the apartments are going to be more expensive because there's more rooms and more facilities doesn't always line up. Interestingly, the smaller the town, it seems to be more expensive, and the bigger the town, more value for money. I suppose that's just the economics of supply and demand, greater supply. And we're early in the season, so the demand is here, but it's low. So we're getting good prices there. So yeah, a number of different accommodations available, and we're still just booking them a few days in front. Mentioned washing. We're going for the wash one, wear one approach. That's working well. Occasionally you sort of get to a place where you've got access to a washer and a dryer. Bang, just do everything that you've got. Just wear whatever, a pair of shorts and a T-shirt just while the wash and the dry is taking place. That's nice. Other times it's, you're washing things in the sink, or you might have access to a washer but not to a dryer. If you come across a heated towel rail, that's gold. Heated towel rail, wash things in the sink, put stuff on the heated towel rail. But the wash and wear is going well. You kind of mix it up a little bit. If it's muddy, you might wear, the same pair of long pants a couple of days in a row and have that as your mud pants. And then after you've had a shower in the evening, you've got your other pants that you'll keep clean until you the weather improves or you come across better facilities. Anyway, looking forward to this hot, sunny day. So we've made it to Burgos. Burgos is one of the largest cities that we'll come across during our walk. In fact, when you get to the edge of Burgos, you've probably still got more than a 5-kilometre walk from the edge of Burgos through to the centre of the town where the cathedral is and where our accommodation is. Our host advised us to take an alternative path from Atapuerca to Burgos, showed us on the map, we checked the app, we had it all sorted. In fact, while we were walking along from Atapuerca, a number of people stopped us and advised us to take this alternative route. It's basically walking along the river, a nice garden park, a nice picturesque entry into Burgos. And essentially the instructions were go over the overpass, go down and around, then turn off to your left. And then you walk along, you hit another town, take that left, and that will put you down onto the river. We missed the turn off to the left. I don't think there really was much of a sign. I don't think there was any sign. I think there was about a car park, which didn't really look like it went anywhere. So we kept walking. We hit the Burgos airport. And then by the time we realised we'd missed the turn-off, it would have been adding a good number of kilometres to our journey to go backwards to try and pick up this alternative path. So we ended up taking the yellow arrow signs into Burgos, got to the outer edges, industrial area, worked our way through, stopped off for some lunch on the way into Burgos. And it's quite amazing when we hit the cathedral and then discovered that our accommodation, which is a loft apartment with skylights and everything, is a stone's throw. We're talking 50 metres max between us and the Burgos Cathedral. Tomorrow is a rest day. Really looking forward to that. I think we all need a rest day.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the...
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.